Episode 2: How the UN Works, Power Structure and Decision-Making. The United Nations, the world's most powerful organization. It was created to maintain peace, resolve conflicts, and bring nations together. But who really controls it? Does every country have an equal say, or is the UN just a tool for the powerful? Today, we expose the truth behind the power structure and decision-making of the United Nations. The UN is made up of 6 main organs, but in reality, only a few have real influence. Let's break them down. Point 1. The General Assembly, the global debate club. Every country has one vote, regardless of size or power. Discusses global issues, but its resolutions are non-binding. Often called a talking shop with little real power. 2. The Security Council, the real power center. 5 permanent members P5, USA, Russia, China, UK, France. 10 rotating members with temporary influence. The veto power allows any P5 member to block decisions. This means no resolution can pass if a powerful country doesn't want it. The Security Council decides on wars, peacekeeping missions, and sanctions, but is it truly fair? 3. The Secretariat, the UN's bureaucratic backbone. Headed by the UN Secretary-General, currently Antonio Guterres. Handles peacekeeping, diplomacy, and administration, but has no real authority over the P5 nations. 4. The Economic and Social Council ECOSOC. Oversees development programs and human rights. Works with NGOs and global institutions. Often sidelined by more powerful bodies. 5. The International Court of Justice ICJ. The UN's judicial arm settles legal disputes between countries. No enforcement power. Many nations simply ignore its rulings. 6. The Trusteeship Council, inactive since 1994. Originally managed colonial territories, became obsolete after decolonization. The veto power, one of the most controversial aspects of the UN, it was designed to prevent global conflict, but instead, it often paralyzes the UN from taking action. How the veto power works: any P5 nation can block any resolution, no matter how many other nations support it. Used hundreds of times to protect national interests. Often prevents sanctions, military interventions, and investigations. Here's how veto power has been used to shape global conflicts. USA blocked over 30 resolutions on Palestine and Israel. Russia blocked multiple resolutions on Syria and Ukraine. China used veto power to protect its allies like North Korea. This raises a major question: can the world really rely on the UN to stop conflicts when the most powerful nations control the decisions? Let's dive into the UN's decision-making process. When a global crisis happens, how does the UN respond? The decision-making process is complicated, slow, and often ineffective. Step 1. A crisis happens: war, genocide, or human rights violations take place. Step 2. General Assembly debate. Countries propose resolutions, but they aren't legally binding. Step 3. Security Council votes. If the P5 nations agree, action is taken. If one P5 nation uses a veto, the process stops immediately. Step 4. Peacekeeping and diplomacy. If action is approved, UN sends peacekeeping troops, humanitarian aid, or sanctions. But here's the problem: this process takes weeks or even months. By the time the UN acts, it's often too late. The United Nations was created to stop wars and promote peace. But has it succeeded? Successes: helped prevent another world war, played a role in decolonization, provided humanitarian aid to millions. Failures: ineffective in stopping wars such as Iraq, Syria, Ukraine, Yemen wars. Ignored genocides, including Rwanda 1994, Bosnia 1995, Myanmar 2017, and the P5 members use it for their own interests. If the UN cannot prevent wars, enforce justice, or hold powerful nations accountable, then is it truly fulfilling its mission? Can the UN be reformed? The UN is at a crossroads. Many believe it needs urgent reforms, but will the powerful nations allow it? The next episode will explore the proposed solutions and whether the UN can truly be restructured for a fairer world. Do you think the UN still serves its purpose? Comment below. Should the veto power be removed? Let's discuss. Subscribe for the next episode on UN reforms and restructuring.